very important part of the Keco training process. I would love to take responsibility for this, but it was someone much cleverer than me. Chris was the man behind this. A lot of people say, well, what on earth is a continuum? Or a continuum is a change with no fixed bar. So like seasons of the year would be classed as a continuum. You don't go from winter to spring to summer, as we could quite happily tell out there. You go winter, spring, bit of summer, back to winter again, back to spring. It's just crazy. So this is something where we can move up and down. We've got the flat finish up the top there. So your PDR technicians are going to be sat right at the tip of the green area, and then we've got the tip of the red area here. So this is more like the aggressive end, more of a rough out style. So the idea is to get, you see the arrow runs both ways, is to get the rough out technicians using GPR moving up the continuum, but just as much the PDR technicians to want to come down. How many times I've been asked in a body shop, can you repair that? Knowing full well as a base PDR tech, I would look at it and go, well, the paint's damaged, so I cannot paint this dent repair. Yeah. But I could repair it, it just needs paint afterwards. But if it stops that vehicle or that panel being thrown away, obviously we're into sustainability now, is a big thing within, and also getting parts.
Parts is a nightmare.
Parts is, yeah. I mean, I was at a conference. Yeah. I mean, just last week, that was one of the main things. We can't get parts. Sustainability, they're all on the radar at the moment. So if we can walk in and save that panel, even if it does need a little bit of filler, the PDR techs out there, don't be scared of that. Just help. It's quite, I think.
But when it becomes a point where you just can help each other, aren't it?
Yeah, exactly that. So when you came to us, I would say you was sort of ready to.
Just playing around with it, really, wasn't it?
So
there was no finesse or anything like that. It was just
get the results you were looking for. It was stick a bigger tab on there as you can and just hit it with a big slide hammer.
Absolutely.
So as you can see there, we've based it down to action, tabs, lifter, blue, knockdown, and then the light. So for the aggressive movements, it's a very single movement. You're just forcing it one way. We're using large tabs, slide hammer, K-bar. We're using flexible glue, heavyweight hammers, and no PDR light. The transition between aggressive to controlled, from what I've seen, is quite quick. I mean, in your case, it was very quick.
I think it's just a case. For me, it was just sort of sussing out the system and just finding out what works best for you in certain areas.
We keep referring to it as a system. A lot of people call it a kit. We joked about this earlier. The reason we don't like a kit is because there's always something that's not going to be used, whereas a system, everything's modular. So everything fits within each other and it enables you, just because that one tool doesn't do what you want to do, by attaching other parts to it, all of a sudden it becomes a useful tool. So it's systemizing.
And you find out little things with it as well. You get stuck in a certain area, you think, oh, if I put this on, or I put that foot on, or use this, you're always grabbing something else to make that do what you want it to do. So there's always a way, whether it's a case of moving a foot or an extension, it all fits everything, doesn't it?
But you see what we're doing here now. The action we're using single and double action now. So rather than just one movement, what we're trying to do now is we're loading up the panel whilst we tap down using a K-beam or a K-bar. Obviously, a K-bar you can have to manually hold it. The K-beam you can bring it up. Hold the tension. Yeah, so you're just creating that metal flow, which is very important. Flexible glue still. Obviously, your working window on the flex glue is very big, as long as you keep it in the right temperatures, and it's going to allow you to beat, as long as you've not got the panel under too much strain. Obviously, if you go to the excessive end of the as soon as you strike that, there is a chance it can separate. But as long as you're within the correct temperature ranges and you're not over pulling, the glue will sit there all day and quite happily be beaten to create that metal flow. Then we move up the continuum to the finesse area, very much where you're sat now. Would you agree?
Settled there. Settled there for now.
So we're using, obviously, it's just becoming more finesse, light and double action. Intermediate tabs have been used a lot more, so smaller lifters. Still flexible glue, but you're finding
small to start trying to finish off or getting that repair as close as you can. So.
Yeah, because we see it all the time. Obviously, I said earlier that some people aren't sharing their work for fear of being shot down.
Yeah.
But in actual fact, I mean, you've been here in front of 100 odd PDR techs.
It bothered us at the first, but then now it's one of them, isn't it? It's a learning curve for me. It's different environment, so being in the lines down with loads of PDR technicians, you're automatically thinking this is not PDR, but they think it is, and you get the tin of filler out and everyone's just like so I'd say I'm here, but I want to progress into here, pushing into PDR, but it's not my aim to be a PDR technician, but it would be nice to be able to finish that dent off if we missed the dent on the door that's been painted, or it's just a case of saving us doing an extra blend on a car. It's all saving money, whether it's in the body shop or whatever.
We do this is something I think Pt.3 came up with. We did a Dent to blockable in 5 minutes. So we can get an average style door ding to a blockable standard. You know, I'm not talking anything big, just a
normal
sort of 10p size. To a blockable standard, so obviously when that panel is lacquered out, once it's blocked and lacquered, there is no need to do anything else to it. It all kind of fills in. But I get what you're saying now, obviously, if a panel has
that's it. And I think as a panel beat, you just want to grow as a technician. Like if you've started here, you've naturally progressed by using it, and just as your damage is getting smaller, I think you naturally move up it anyway. So, but then you get that one small ding where you think, well, I'm doing this, the big stuff, so why can't I just lift that small dent and tackle down? But it is an art to it, which I found over the last 2 days. It's not as easy as just tapping down or pushing.
PDR, we generally always want to pull high, but as you know yourself, tapping down is incredibly difficult.
Well, that's it. In your GPR, if you pull high, you've got more than 2 legs to stand on. You aggressively tackle back down, and you've got to back where you need it. That's where your filler will come in.
Yeah.
And then you start blowing my brains to bits yesterday, just on something simple like tapping down a small crown, because instead of the panel minding is to get it back down to fillable, I've got to think, right, I need to be more gentle about it and tapping in the right place. So it's one of them. For me as a technician, you want to do it, but just more as an upskill. I want to do PDR, and then in 6 months I want to be a full PDR technician. I'll be realistic on this. So
having seen the guys on Hale in 2015, it's you naturally want to.
Well, so you see something. To us, it was new.
Yeah.
So you were like, and they'll tell you want to fix this roof without painting it, and we just stood there, pulled up a chair, and was like, let's have a laugh at these. And then 8 weeks, 12 weeks in, you were just like, these lads know what they're doing.
Yes, it is a different art. I mean, for the most part, I would say the organic area that most people are happy with is in the yellow sector. That's you say you get the odd person that pushes through that.
I think in your body shop, for me, I think if you're progressing there, it's a perfect place to sit in the body shop.
Yeah,
because you've always got your filler for that worst case scenario, and it is a body shop, so that is what we do.
Well, it's moving back to what we spoke about earlier. GPR's not PDR.
That's it.
They are two completely separate skills. They're just linked together with similar
this
tools.
is set up so if they can start pushing into the bigger repairs with their tool, and the only thing they haven't got is filler and abrasives the same as us, but they are PDR, and if they can do link ups with garages where you push the paint, or that you've just said there about pushing to a block in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It's one, you're helping each other, and then your PDR guys just starting on things like this, and then they want to move into bigger repairs. It benefits everyone, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's the thing. I mean, that's the great thing about this Continuum. It really does help people sit into the various areas that they want to be sat in. So, it's very, very easy to get wrapped up in the wrong place.
Oh, it is, isn't it? I think you just need to step back sometimes and think, right,
where have I come? How much have I achieved?
Well, that's the way I look at it. I just think I've started there and I've come to here. So if you're talking in 4 steps, it's two big steps in my opinion.
It's, but do you think that kind of sums up the process quite well?
Like without a doubt. Like you say, you're like, we've had people from like commercial places who they say we're not bothered about this. We just want the level 1 with the big tabs and the big heavy equipment so they can just get stuff moving. Because it's a commercial, they just want that van turned around and back on the road. So they'll probably be happy being down here.
Mm-hmm.
I think depending on what sort of vehicles you're working on, where my last shop I was working on mainly just Audis, VWs, you naturally want to progress into like here really.
Top end, yeah.
Just so you're thinking you've got brand new 70,000, 80,000 pound cars there. I would want to put a stud on it.
Yeah.
So, but I think it just naturally happens if your technician wants to progress or learn.
No, that's good. You know, it's nice to hear that this makes sense to people out there, and obviously anyone that hasn't seen this, it's on our website, but it's a very, very good overview on what's expected.
You could pick out 4 people in the body shop, and the chances are 4 of them will probably be
all around different areas.
Because you'll have people who's been doing it less amount of years, or there's a lot of guys whose metal work's better than his, and there's a place for everyone, really, isn't there?
Yeah, absolutely.